Right, and we're back. Apologies. It looks obviously like it's so cold out there. It is literally like what storm is it? I don't know what storm. Storm something has literally blown off my Wi-Fi. That sounded wrong.
No, don't.
Literally. Oh, no one's going to see this bit hopefully until they find a new link. Yeah, we're just going to give it about a minute. George is just going to quickly send out a new
I've
link.
tweeted out the new link.
Yeah, I'm just seeing it come live here as well. So, apologies. We'll just wait for a few more people to come in to find a link. Yeah, my Wi-Fi just went. I don't know what it was. We were just chatting about a goalkeeper's joke about George was like, talking about freeing in like back at school, like headers and volleys. Like Lauren was in goal. Lauren is a full-time goalkeeper. That is her position on that. So yeah, we're just going to wait. I was just going to say, whilst we're talking rubbish, Derby County versus QPR tonight. Derby actually are not that far behind. They've actually done alright this season,
You
Robin.
know what? They picked up 4 points in their last two games against Fulham and Bournemouth, like the top two in the league.
Yeah,
It'd be a miracle, wouldn't it, if they stay up? Like that's definitely if I've got Football Manager, that's definitely the team I'd pick as a challenge. I think to see if I could keep them in division.
yeah, and they've actually just scored.
Have they?
As you just saying that, they just scored. Lawrence has just scored 9 minutes in.
Well, I'll tell you what. Jess Stelling's out of a job in the summer, Stu. We know what you're doing.
Yeah, where's Chris Kamara? I didn't see it. Unbelievable, Jeff. Yeah, but the thing is, in the transfer window, they reckon in January they're going to sell a lot of players, don't they? So
Oh, they're going to have to. They're going to have to. Financially, they can't afford not to. You know,
yeah,
with their administrators, and they're going to sell every asset they've got.
definitely. George, have you put a link there? Because we only have four people. Literally,
I have tweeted the link.
Yeah, so we're just going to hold fire. We've got Sean Tennyson back. Three people now. I think I must have told that Derby joke and they've all gone. Okay, we'll keep chatting. People can always watch it back, can't they, and stuff like that. So, yeah, ladies' game. So, yeah, it felt, like I say, physicality, I felt that's where Wimbledon really stepped in there. And I suppose for the league, George, it's a little bit of a wake-up call for hashtag, isn't it? It's not going to be all their own way,
Yeah,
as it looked like.
yeah, and I mean, you heard them talk about it on the commentary of that we're a good side. They've got to play us twice more in the league. They've still got to play Billericay, who are another side who have thrown around a lot of money this season and are fighting for promotion. So I think they've realised now that it's not going to be a walk in the park, and it could be any one of us three that ends up going up. We've got a lot of catching up to do after a shaky start to the season, but I think we're in a good position now to really go on. We've shown everyone what we can do. Difficult game in the next round, which we'll come on to slightly later on this evening.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say, because we were talking about it just before Stu decided to cut his internet connection.
It's cold. It's cold in Epsom.
But I just wanted to, players like Angel Fowler, who was playing out of position. Obviously, Ashley Hinks was playing out of position. Gloria Sibber, who was wearing the 17 shirt, who won the free kick that led to that goal. These are players who were playing out of position or fresh into the first team from the under-23s. They deserve a lot of credit because they put in an outstanding performance for us on Sunday. And, they're really putting a lot of pressure on the more senior players fighting for a first-team spot.
Yeah, and I was being nosy and looking at sort of like prize money and stuff like that. Prize money for that was £1,000, wasn't it? For the winner, £250 for the loser.
So we won the second round of the FA Cup and we got £1,000 prize money.
Yeah.
For the men's team, it's about 40 grand if you win the second round.
Yeah.
And the prize money is roughly equivalent to the FA Vars, which is combined counties teams. It's something that I think's appalling and an embarrassment to our game. The lack of prize money in that competition.
Yeah.
If you look, if you win the competition, I think it's 40 grand prize money if you win the women's FA Cup.
It's not. Yeah, I don't think it's even that. If I'm being
It's not.
truthful.
I don't. Yeah, and
I think it's even half of that. I think it's like 17,000. I think I saw.
It's not even. And when you've got the teams in the Super League and the money they're throwing around, it's not a surprise that some teams are just women's football is not struggling. It's struggling financially because you need to put the money in the grassroots, and the FA Cup's the way to do that.
And we're not going to discuss it tonight because we'll be here all night. But the Tracy Crouch's fan-led independent review has been released, and one of the good things I noticed on that was that Tracy Crouch actually said there that they didn't cover the ladies' game within that review because they felt it should have a separate review. which I agree with. Obviously, I've been working with you for a bit, and I know a bit about the ladies' game, but yeah, I think for it to be sustainable, if we look at the Premier League being in terms of the money filtering down, well, the Women's Super League is so far out, isn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of competition, and obviously I'm not going to get into obviously what money comes down, drip downs, etc. I know the Women's Super League does have a deal with Sky, doesn't it, for games and BBC, but yeah, we're playing back at Plough Lane now. That's a very
Yeah.
good thing. And then as we go to that, George, Plough Lane is going to be the venue for the next round of the Vitality FA the Vitality FA Cup. Oh, George, help me out. What order does it go
Yeah,
in?
we have been,
Vitality's.
yeah, Plough Lane will be hosting Plough Lane will be hosting the third round of the Vitality Women's FA Cup.
That's
As
it.
the draw was done at 2 p.m. today, and it's a really difficult draw for us. We've been drawn at home to either Ipswich or Crawley Wasps. Ipswich are top of the division above us. They've played 11 games, won all 11, scored 40 goals, and conceded 3. So it's difficult game. Crawley are mid-table in the division above us.
Yeah.
But it's we beat London Bees in the County Cup last weekend. They were a division above us as well. So we've just got to hope that we go into it, we'll give a good account of ourselves, get a massive crowd at Plough Lane, and hopefully they cheer us on to making history and reaching the 4th round of the FA Cup where Super League teams join.
Definitely. And do you know what? I think the team must be buzzing, mustn't they, to potentially play. That's a bad joke. What happens when Crawley Wasps play London Bees? Like, isn't a wasp stronger than a bee? Is that right? Then what's the thing, boys?
The honey
No,
derby.
boys, don't get involved. Leave it
No, but isn't it like if one of them?
Let
Isn't it if
Dig
one of them
on the
stings? Isn't it one of them stings you? They die, don't they? Is that right? Is that a bee?
That's a B. I think so.
Yeah.
That's a B.
So the Wasps are always going to win, aren't they? So Crawley Wasps against London Bees. If the Bees score early, that's it. They're dead. They're gone, aren't they?
Your Wi-Fi is going to go down for this show. You know that.
Oh, do you know what? I couldn't. And isn't Crawley Wasps in all being ill serious? Megan Stowe was at Crawley Wasps, wasn't she, before?
Yeah.
Let's get some
She
shit.
was there before, so there's a bit of, there's some history there, and obviously Ipswich have thrown around a lot of money. They were in our division previously, threw around a lot of
Yeah.
money to get out of it. They're throwing a lot of money at it again to try and get into the championship. So they're a very, very good team. So going to be a very difficult game. Those two are playing each other on Sunday the 5th after their game was postponed yesterday because of the weather. That game's going to be at Plough Lane probably on the 12th of December now. We'll get a date out and a ticketing information as soon as we can.
Yeah, and do you know what? Get down if you can.
Yeah.
I was really. I've seen bits and pieces. Obviously, I've been doing a bit of the editing and videos and that. But I saw and I think the game I saw the second half was a really competitive second half, and I really enjoyed it. George, to be honest with you, and I'm looking forward to getting down for the next round of the FA Women's Cup.
Vitality Women's FA
I
Cup.
don't understand what order it comes in with that.
Don't worry, Stu. We're going to have a lot of time to say this over the next few weeks.
Oh, we're going to have a cup
And
one
even
now.
more
aren't
if
we?
we beat Ipswich.
Yeah. And why are Ipswich chucking so much money? Like, what's this? Is this a Paul Cook? Is he just filtering the money down?
It's basically because in the general consensus is the women's game as a whole is booming, and there is going to be more money coming into it in a big way over the next coming years.
Yeah.
So the thinking is now's the best time you're ever going to have to try and buy your way through the leagues to make sure you're as closest to the top as you can when more money starts coming in. And like I said, the lower divisions, because there's been no trickle down from the money from the Super League, I say by the league, their annual budget there is probably less than a week's wages for the Ipswich first team.
Yeah. Yeah.
For their men, and it's just they throw around what in the men's game is no money, but in the women's game can get you awfully close to the top.
Definitely. But you know what? I think, like I say, being at Plough Lane, hopefully that can attract that. Not that we need better players. Also, I think the team's really, from what I look at it, it's quite a strong team on that side of it. So, but hopefully that can encourage, in terms of, especially through the ladies' game, obviously the girls' team, the under 23s. But really well done beating hashtag. They were quite gutted, which was quite nice. But and that's just sorry to jump in, but that's right.
it does help attract players. I mean, we saw that this summer. Players like Ashley Hinks, who's played in FA Cups finals, played for England at age group level. You know, she's an incredible player, and to get her just shows what we're building as the women's section and what, you know, the draw and the attraction of Plough Lane. But also just, you know, one other thing on it, it's just that's 10 unbeaten now for our women's team.
Yep.
We've won 9 of our last 10, unbeaten in 10, scored 37 goals. You know, we're in a really good position now to move on. Tough game away to Portishead on Sunday in the League Cup. But, you know, we'll go and we'll hopefully keep going. And, you know, that Ipswich or Crawley game is going to be a massive test for us. And
Definitely.
hopefully we'll have a massive crowd to cheer the girls on.
Yeah, and if Crawley get through, it could be a sting in the tail, couldn't there? Oh, dear.
Boys, let's leave. Let's go. We'll call the stream. That's the
And
end of
also,
it.
and do you know what? The good thing about the ladies is they've already sorted out their Christmas break. Last game was the 12th, George, isn't it? Until after New Year.
No, 19th. We've got a game on the 19th now.
And then they have a break, don't they? They don't play boxing.
Yeah, and then we
day,
have a
etc.
very short winter break.
Yeah, so that's good in a way, and that side of it. Yeah, and I just when I was doing my research, I did see like Ashley Hinks played like 73 games for Chelsea. And stuff like that. It's a really good pedigree. And we also got an interview coming up with her, which I don't know when you're going to release, George, but the interview with her is really, really good. And that's one of the things I've really enjoyed about the ladies, actually, is they're really enthusiastic and enjoying the extra, obviously, publicity at Plough Lane, and it's refreshing and it's enjoyable. So well done to the ladies. And they are through to the third round of the Vitality FA Cup for women. Oh, I don't know what order I'm getting.
Vitality Women's FA Cup.
I'm getting a Vitality pick in. That's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the key bit.
And of course, we try, Wimbledon, the men's team, we try and get into the FA Cup third round for ourselves. But let's obviously discuss a very, very, very cold Plough Lane on Saturday. Just by the way, anyone's not heard the question, we are asking, what is your coldest game for AFC Wimbledon? Jane Lonsdale coming early with Curzon Ashton in the FA Cup about 5 years ago. But we'll discuss, as we get more through, we'll discuss that. Rob, Saturday 2-2 against Fleetwood. For the second game, with 2 home games crew in a week, and then obviously Fleetwood, we conceded the first goal. Giving ourselves a bit to do, Rob. What did you think? Because obviously we were a bit fortunate because Fleetwood did score early on, made themselves look a complete and utter joke. Knee slide in front of, was it Morton, wasn't it? Or Morton?
Yeah.
Morton.
But first goal, Rob, we got to try and get away from that, haven't we? Conceding.
Yeah, it's been one of the disappointing things with Plough Lane at home games. I always feel like we always give ourselves an uphill task. It was the amount of times we've had to make a comeback, Bolton being the first game of the season, being a classic, and 2 this week. I think that was the one negative for me this week. Portsmouth, Crewe and Fleetwood, we conceded 2 goals in each of them. And we can't keep having to score, 2 and 3 goals to win a game of football. But the flip side is, both them home games, we did make a comeback. We picked up a positive 4 points, and it could have been more. It could have been 6, or we could have got a point at Portsmouth and could have been 5. But yeah, that was comical when Morton done the knee slide for the linesman to rule it out for offside, which I think was actually a brilliant spot, by the linesman. He actually did really well to spot that, because I did see an image go around of what he gave it for, and there was fractions in it. So
yeah,
credit where credit's due for that one.
Sorry, George, I basically put Rob twice.
I didn't want to say anything. I
was like, where's George gone? Oh yeah, Rob's was twice. It's like my new footballer from my online league. He's just so good at putting me in twice. By the way, if we won't discuss it because we'll bore everyone's left. But the online league, I'll put a link up. If you want to play Football Manager, George is concentrating on the youth and his stadium. George is just like on a different league. But yeah, Boise's ahead of my league. Let's not get onto that side of it. We were quite fortunate, weren't we? It was offside, wasn't it? It was offside because he hit the 22, George. Was that right in terms of when it come back out, wasn't it?
Yeah, so as the original shot came in, Tarrant saved it, and it flicked off against the player who was offside and went back to Morton, who then scored the rebound. And it was that touch off that 22 who had straight offside. And I think I have to say, I've praised the referee once already in this video. I'm going to have to praise another one here. Don't know what's going on, but that was an incredible spot from the line, and it showed real bravery to call the referee over and say, I think we've got offside here. Because that, a lot of lineouts would have just ran away and left it. So I think he deserves credit for giving that one.
No, I agree. And let's be fair, the goal they did score, George, it's not a comedy of errors, but it's one of those, isn't it? Paul Osu in the right back position plays it back to Ben Hennigan, and it's just, if we've said it a little while already, and we in terms of going back isn't being defensive. It's recycling, as they call it nowadays in football, new terms, and but it's telegraph, wasn't it, George?
Yeah, it was a sort of probably a bit soft, probably not quite enough on the path. But for me, the error one, it was sadly Tans. It's the first mistake he's made for us in a long time. The fact that he came for it, then decided he didn't want to come for it, then decided he was going to come for it, and then changed his mind again. Just meant he was caught in no man's land. Had he come for it, he might have got there, he might not have. But as a goalkeeper, the second you yes, no, and then go back, you're not going to save it, and you're not going to get there.
Controversial, George. Controversial. I'm interested in that one.
Tams has, had a great season for us, but I think sadly he was at fault for that first goal. He'll come back and he'll do well for the rest of the season. He bounced back well in the game, but he was at fault for that first one.
I'm not having
that, Rob?
No, I'm not having that. Ben was at fault for that one. That pass was so short.
Oh yeah, it was a short pass.
Our keeper's always out the area, and obviously Tans can't predict that. Ben was going to underhit the pass. You know what I would say though? Tans has set the bar so high. Yeah. When he was 1-on-1 and running back towards his goal, I actually felt quite confident Tans was going to save it. Other keepers, you think there's a goal, but it was actually unfortunate because I think it went through his legs. I haven't watched it back, but I remember watching it thinking, it's actually slipped between his legs, and Tans actually had a good chance of saving that. It's not like he got dinked and he was in no man's land in that kind of term. But yeah, he got, like you said, he did get caught between two minds, but obviously he was didn't read Ben's on the hit pass, which was just unfortunate, at the end of the day. It was just an error, a couple of hours in that.
George is trying to get back in here just to basically make sure it's Tans' error.
I'm just going to keep talking over him. I've got to get back
in. Go on, George.
But that's Ben. It was an under-hit pass with him, and it was intercepted quite well. But I think Tans, he did start tracking back. Then he changed his mind and started going for it. Then he started tracking back again. And that was the thing, because had he just tracked back all the way, he might have got in his area in the position to make a save. And when he decided, I'm going to go for it, had he committed to that, he might have been able to make a challenge or do something out of the area and make a play. But it's just that undecisiveness maybe just caused that slight delay that meant he wasn't able to make a save or make a challenge. But yeah, it came from Ben's under-hit pass, which is, again, it's two players who have been so reliable for us this year making a mistake. But I'd much rather they make that mistake together and it only costs us one goal than if they both made an individual error in a couple of games' time and cost us 2 goals.
You know what? I'm glad Tans were treated, though, because I do not like it when a keeper comes rushing out trying to then win the ball. I don't know if you watched the one a few weeks ago with Sanchez and Brighton against Newcastle, and he was just caught in no man's land. Has to take the player out and get a red card. So, for me, I think Tans done the right thing. I know he kind of got caught between going forward, going back, but I personally like it when a keeper goes back towards his line and comes rushing out trying to make a perfectly timed challenge. And
you know what? I think I said this to George on Saturday. The wind was really strong. On Saturday, I don't know, it was the coldest day. It was the coldest place on earth, I reckon. On Saturday, it was so cold.
I think Burnley might have been a bit more chilly the next day.
Yeah, but it's not cold when it snows because it doesn't. Snow doesn't really settle unless it's a bit cooler. And also, you've got Sean Dyche up there who don't do coats. Let's be fair, straight out in a shirt. Hilarious on that. But I felt Tans most of the day was playing safe rather than I think there was a few times when he didn't come out for the ball in Edge's box, which he normally would do. And I think I have a feeling that Bezo probably was like, don't commit yourself too much because the ball was dying, wasn't it? And sometimes on the outside of it. But yeah, and to be fair to Ben Hennigan, I don't know about you guys, but I felt in the last 2 games he had against Crewe and against Fleetwood, I think he's been a standout on that, George.
Yeah, like I said, he's been one of our best players this year. Probably definitely a player of the season contender so far. 2 outstanding games, just an error. Players wouldn't be at our level if they didn't make one-off errors every now and again. Ben was, it was sadly at fault. I mean, the conditions I think would be a bit harsh because it was along the ground. It wasn't like it carried by the wind. He just underhit a pass. It's a shame that these things happen, and he had a good rest of the game. I thought he didn't let it get to him. He carried on and had a good, remaining a good second half at least, and I think that's something that he can take pride in and go again.
One thing I did notice, I don't know if you noticed this, I know you can't see much from where you stand in the south stand, Rob, but there was a bit, I think, where Fleetwood were doing their, basically just falling over for most things. I think they were trying to compete with Wickham. But there was one bit where the team literally just done a huddle on the halfway line. And it looked like to me, in terms of what Robbo's been saying, that he wants his team to figure it out for themselves and stuff like that. It felt like we were doing that because we edged our way back into the game, didn't we? In terms of we didn't see anything in the end of the first half, but second half come out of the win, Rob, and we put we were full guns blazing, weren't we?
Yeah, it was it was a good period of that second half. It was one-way traffic, and that wind really did make a huge difference second half. And you could see it just from watching the game. And I did notice that there was a huddle, especially after the disallowed goal, which it seemed like Woody and Ben were leading. And I think they've been fantastic for us. It feels like, with Palmer, Woody and Ben and some of these players, they feel like new signings because I didn't get to really see them last year, apart from one I follow, because of no crowds. But, seeing them week in, week out, I think them three have just been a class act for us in the spine of the team. And I think overall, I think a draw was a fair result, but it's always disappointing when you go 2-1 up to not see the game out. But talking of the coldest place on earth, I do have to say I do feel a bit sorry for the Portsmouth fans who had to travel to Gillingham on that scaffold stand. I would not have liked to have been there on a Saturday, I'll tell you that. So.
Well, it's got no chance of moving, is it? It's just frozen. Obviously Gillingham is...
It's been frozen there for about 20 years, I think.
Gillingham is not the coldest. It's certainly some things in the face of the earth, but it's not the coldest on that. Let's go through the goals. So first goal from a Hartigan free kick, and for once a ball dropped to us, George, because against Crewe in the week, we kept banging on the door, didn't we, and getting nothing. And finally, if it's by fate or whatever, the ball falls to the feet of Ayabasau, who wouldn't have been playing if it wasn't for the FA rescinding his red card, and he gets a goal, George.
Yeah, and I think we all saw how much that goal meant to him by his reaction. There wasn't any thought behind his celebration. It was just raw emotion and raw passion. He was just so, I'm sorry, Sammy Moore is copyrighted it, but he was buzzing to get it.
I'm keeping my beef joke now. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, that's the theme today.
Yeah, I think he's, he was certainly. We all know what happened on Tuesday night, and we all know what's happened since, and the error from the referee that has allowed Aib to play again, and he got his goal, he deserved his goal, and it was great to see that second ball fall to us because you're right, it's been a long time coming. It seemed every game for a while now that the second ball just hasn't been falling for us. We've been so unlucky, and it's great that a ball, the one time it does fall for us into the penalty area, we were able to get a goal, and hopefully that's the start of a run now where second balls start falling our way in the penalty area. Because if we do that, that'll certainly help our goal scoring.
Yeah, and that's only a third goal of the season for Masao, which is when I did double and treble check that because obviously we know how many yellow cards he's got because that's been quite popular, isn't it, in terms of that stat. But that's his third goal of the season and the first goal since he scored the winner up at Morecambe. You can probably see in a way, Rob, why he's. I'm just going to call him grumpy. He's just grumpy. As I said on the podcast, not Kevin and Perry, not Kevin and Stacey, I got it completely wrong. But he is basically Kevin in it, where the life is unfair. And you can see by his celebration that, in a way, he shouldn't. But it felt like it was a bit of weight off his shoulders. But he shouldn't really have that at 19 years old, Rob.
No, I think, last season he came in and he really, didn't he score something like 7 goals in 13 or something? He really set the bar quite high for himself and set the standard quite high. And he got off to a flying start at the start of the season. He scored against Doncaster and should have maybe had another. Scored that, worldly of a goal against Morecambe, scoring the winner. And then it's, people have been saying he's had a bit of a dip in form, but, I still think he's been really, really good week in, week out. But that's the bar he's now set for himself. But, you can see it meant a lot to him. And I think he's wanted a goal for a while. He was trying to take the penalty off Ollie midweek because I think he just, wants to get back amongst the goals.
Ollie weren't having that.
No, it makes me laugh though, isn't it? You got somebody who's 5'4", trying to take the ball off somebody who's 6'6". But I a lot of people moan at, or had a bit of a moan about that with Masao. But I like that competitive streak, and I like the fact that he plays on the edge. But you could see it meant so much to him when he scored.
It's like, can I have my ball back, please?
But yeah, you can see how much it meant when he scored, and hopefully, like I said, it's now a start of a run of goals for him. Sometimes you see it with in the Premier League where somebody will score a goal and then they'll go on a run. And I think what else I've been quite pleased with this week is it looks like we're now a threat again from set pieces. The goals seem to dry up for a little while, but goals seem to be coming again from set pieces for us, which is going to be huge for our season.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because Radoni's first, wasn't it, was from a Hartigan corner from memory, wasn't it? Interesting, by the way, you talk about Doncaster. The same goal scorers at Doncaster as they were against Fleetwood, because McCormick got the second. And we were saying this, George, weren't we, on Saturday? It felt like the goal scorers were ones we needed to get goals. Because I think McCormick's been playing really well the last couple of games. Looks like he's playing in a better position, giving him more ball. And by the state of the finish, George, was of somebody who's not lacking confidence.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, he has been getting into a lot of good positions. He's been playing well. Over the last few weeks, he has had that look of someone when he's been getting into dangerous positions. He's been looking for that extra pass rather than taking a shot. It was great. I think he could just feel the way with obviously the way Ayub's goal went. And the news we got, 48 hours earlier of Ayub being cleared to play. All of those things, I think, just made him think, you know what, maybe this is going to be our day. I may as well try something.
Yeah.
And it paid off for him. And I think, that's going to be a huge thing for his confidence. And hopefully, again, we all know what he can do. We saw what he was doing for Bristol Rovers last season during COVID. He won their Player of the Year last year, albeit not in a great Bristol team. But I think, hopefully that'll be the start of his confidence run. And again, same as Ayub, hopefully that's the first in a good run of goals he can get over the next couple of months.
Definitely. And Ollie Palmer obviously has returned to the starting lineup, got his goal, 2 goals against Crewe, and Rob set up McCormick's goal. Great ball, wasn't it, in terms of inside? Great vision from the big man.
Yeah, you know what? He's not just a big man, is he? He can play with his feet. He presses from the front. I think he's been a class act for us. And I think he's since coming back in the side. I think he's shown that level of experience he has. I know Presley's still learning the game, but Ollie Palmer's still a little bit more of a finished article. And I often see McCormick make really good runs, and I find sometimes he gets frustrated he doesn't get found. Making runs like that, and it was good for Ollie. Got his head up, found that pass, and it was a brilliant finish. He just made it look so easy. But talking of Ollie, I have to give him a shout out for his goal celebration midweek. If anyone's on Instagram or don't know Ollie Palmer's Instagram, look for, I think it's Ollie P9. Have a look. It's quite comical.
Is it the picture where he basically has got both goal scorers in a headlock?
No, there's that one on Saturday, but I'm talking about the one on midweek or Tuesday when the fans were
his retort to some less than funny chants from the Crewe fans.
Ollie is hilarious, isn't it? Yeah. And do you know what, right? People can moan about people's social media, but it's done in the right spirit. He's totally slaughtered the lady from Crewe. I'm going to be nice and call her a lady. But yeah. They have the celebration where he had both goal scorers in a headlock was absolutely hilarious on the floor. But I don't know about you. George, it's great when you see celebrations like that. Because, I thought Plough Lane was rocking on Saturday. And I was quite jealous, by the way, Rob, of you guys in the South Stand, because you're all bouncing around after the goal. I literally couldn't get out of my seat because I think rigor mortis is setting. I was so cold, and I was like, I would love to be bouncing around just to keep warm.
I was going to say, Lee made the song, Jump Around If You Love the Dongs, and it's the first time I was quite happy to jump around, just to keep warm. I won't do that on a Saturday morning for exercise, but yeah.
I literally, the goal went in, and I literally took about 3 or 4 attempts to get up. I was so cold.
I should say that I was already sitting down after celebrating when Shu actually finally stood up.
And I have to say, right, Tom Large was sitting behind us on Saturday. He was doing the updates on the Instagram, and I'm going to call out Tom. Tom was basically like, "I hope we don't score in the second half because my hands are too cold to type." So when we scored, I was turning around smiling at him, and then we scored again on that. But yeah, no, it was officially the coldest place in the world. Unfortunately, didn't hold out, which was disappointing, wasn't it? Fleetwood do score goals, they do concede goals. George, what's your thoughts on it? It's a crossing, isn't it? And then another one, and we just seem to get done on the back stick.
Yeah, it's a disappointing goal to concede, especially relatively soon after retaking the lead. It's a shame, but it's a point gained. And if you'd have, if we'd have done this show, Monday night last week, and I think had you offered us 4 points from these two games, I think we would have all taken it.
Yeah,
So I think we just got to say, yeah, disappointing how it happened. But we got a good win Tuesday. We got points against another side around the bottom on Saturday. Let's try and take positives. We've stopped the rot. Let's try and kick on onwards and upwards.
definitely. Teddy Ruxpin, I like this. Are the finishers finishing, or are they just giving starters a breather? Love it. And finishers is the great word, of course. This is what the new we all know. Oh, George, I'm just thinking, I've not even got me in this shot. Oh, my
No.
days. George, as you talk through
one
that,
George is enough. I don't want to see two.
yeah. Oh my days! What you see? It's just so cold. It's like I just don't know what I'm doing. Here we are. Let's just get this back in. Here I am. I've appeared again. In all seriousness, yeah, we are using them quite well, aren't we? And we seem to have, obviously with Ollie back and stuff like that, we seem to have more of a choice, don't we, George, on that? But substitute, it's been an interesting one. Some people have been a bit critical of the substitutions. What do you think on the Saturday? Because Robbo had Aaron Presley and even Chislett lined up to go on even before the equaliser, and then kept with it. I wasn't too sure, George, in the end of it. Do you think in the end, it didn't feel like they made an awful lot of difference?
Yeah, I don't think the substitutions clicked on Saturday. They were prepped and all ready to go for a minute or so before the equaliser went in. And I do think if you look at it, if that game's 2-1, bringing on Presley and Chislett, it's, they're good, they'll bring on energy, they can help with the press going forward, add legs, and they're both better on the counter than Ollie would be in that stage of the game. So a 2-1, I think those subs are the right ones to make. When they equalised, I think we were just too far down the road to go against those subs. But I think, they didn't click, they didn't make a massive change in the game, sadly. But I think overall the finishers have made an incredible impact this season so far. Sammy Lander, the finishers coach, he deserves a lot of credit for what he's doing.
Yeah.
Coming in from the start he's had. So, yeah, the finishers are making a good difference for us, I think. So hopefully we'll be able to carry on, and hopefully they'll work better than they did on Saturday going forward.
Yeah, what did you think, Rob, on them? Do you think, because normally sometimes you think they normally hold them back, can Ollie Palmer, could we get 90 minutes out of him at the moment? Do you think we're just trying to maybe manage him through games at the moment, Rob?
Yeah, it probably is a bit of a case that we're trying to manage him at the moment. We've got a tough run of fixtures coming up. We've got, the Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. I do feel a bit sorry for Presley and Chislett because, like George said, they were meant to come on a minute before. And obviously when it goes 2-2, the momentum then swings into Fleetwood's favour, and we're a bit on the back foot and kind of sitting a bit deeper. And with all the stop-starts in that second half and 10 minutes added time, it didn't help the flow of the game either for me. So, I feel like the finishers didn't quite work, but then at the same time, like I said, the momentum had swung at that point. So I don't think it was you can point the finger at Presley or Chislett and say, for example, it's not working because of them. I just think, like I said, the team, the momentum swung and we just sat a bit deeper and whatnot. And like George said, had they come on, 2-3 minutes before and that goal didn't go in from the corner, we could have probably seen the game out and it wouldn't be a discussion.
Definitely.
I think I was just going to say that I think it's one of those things of, it just didn't click for us. And I think those subs that if, the briefing they would have had when it was 2-1 would have been, effectively redundant at 2-2. But just going on what I was going to say, I think because I praised the referee earlier, I now have to criticise the referee because I'm not allowed to do a show without criticising one. We had Bobby Madley as the official on Saturday, and I think he dealt with the time wasting in a less than ideal manner. I mean, he added on the 10, but by then the momentum had completely changed in the game because by then we were sitting back and, hanging in rather than going for a winner. And I think that on that, I just think I'd rather he was getting cards out earlier for the time wasting. Just one other thing on the time wasting. I absolutely love Tim Maynard, who's our physio. He came out, and when the Fleetwood players were going down injured every 30 seconds, he was leaving the dugout and just checking on them, seeing if the Fleetwood physio needed any help. just making sure they were actually hurt, seeing if they needed any help getting off the pitch in a timely manner. So I think credit to Tim Maynard for that.
It was old school, wasn't it? It was old school.
It
and
was Wickham-esque.
Yeah, and there was a bit when I think one of the players went down literally about a yard off the touchline, and Ollie just started a ruck, didn't he? Because he got the physio's bag and just took it off the pitch. And you could just see as soon as he did it, he was just like they're all having a go at him. But it was a bit old school. It wasn't great. And if I'm being truthful, 10 minutes. I was frozen as it was, and we see 10 minutes. I don't think anyone actually cheered it. I think a few people groaned. I think a few people tried to get up. 10 minutes. and to be fair, the momentum was with Fleetwood then, wasn't it?
Yeah. I would say the 10, it seemed... I mean, I know one of their players got stretchered off, but he didn't receive a lengthy treatment before being stretchered. He was stretchered off relatively quickly. It just goes to show how bad their time wasting was. That there wasn't a sort of... Because normally if there's a 10 minutes added on, there's a 7-8 minute stoppage somewhere.
Yeah.
But it shows how bad it was all through the game. That even without that injury, you're probably still looking at 7 or 8 minutes added.
Yeah.
See, I was going to say I've had a moan about time wasting and all this previously. You remember when we talked about the rules of the game? I just think even if you book a player, they take it in turns of time wasting. Like very rarely you book a player and then they get a second, or the ref doesn't want. Like I've said, people get a yellow. And then the ref never wants to send them off for a second yellow, even though they're still time wasting. I really think it's something the dark arts, because I found it's more and more creeping into the game over the years. It never used to be a thing, and now you feel like every team does it. I mean, Plymouth when we lost 1-0, the second they went 1 up, every single ball throw in. It just makes it a bit of a boring spectacle for me. I'm left to be entertained.
The one thing I'd say is on the bookings, it gives you an outlet, because if you've got a defender on a booking, like let's say their left back gets booked for time wasting over a throw, Ayub can run at him then, and he's already on a booking, and that gives us our way in, going forward, because it means he can't take Ayub out again. It just gives you a way in. Whereas that 10 minutes, Fleetwood benefited A from wasting time, and then B, when they had momentum, they had an extra 10 minutes of it. So we didn't gain anything. Fleetwood benefited from it twice.
And I agree with Robin in terms of the problem you have is, and I think we highlighted it, didn't we? I think was it Rotherham Wickham where the ball was in
37 minutes.
And I think that's what it is sometimes, isn't it? In terms of if we're thinking as a spectacle of a game of entertainment, Rotherham Wickham, the ball's only in play a third of the actual playing minutes, then. Yeah, it is a little bit, but I think you're right. There's some teams that are shutting up shop.
When you think you're paying £20 a ticket, 37 minutes the ball's in play, it's almost £2 or 50p a minute of football you're paying. It's crazy, isn't it?
This is where Rob is so tight, as you can tell.
I would say though, if you just said there was 37 minutes of the ball in play in a League One match, which two teams was it between? Yeah. I think everyone going would say Wickham Rotherham.
Well, that's why I remembered it. That's why I remembered it. That's why I remembered it.
When Wickham play Fleetwood, that could be a new record, couldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Fleetwood score early in that, the ball's going to be in play for about 30 seconds.
And to be fair, if it was at Fleetwood on Saturday, that ball would have never touched the ground. Can you imagine the wind around there on the coast? I don't know what side of the country it is. It's near Blackpool, that'll do. Anyway.
How many times have you holidayed in Blackpool and you don't know where it is?
I know, it's just up north and it's past Watford. So where are we? 17th in the league. So on that, we've got games in hand. It's really weird, isn't it? Around the league at the moment, we've got 2 games down on some teams and stuff like that. Obviously, 2 games are against them and then against Cheltenham. I was going to say, the current points per game is, I was just looking at that, is like 1.17 at the moment, and our last 8 is 1.13. So in terms of where we are now, we're starting to pick up regular points, aren't we? Before we go into the Christmas festive spirit, and then we go into the January transfer window. Cool. Let's go. What have we got? We've got about another 5 or 6 minutes. FA Cup, Cheltenham, Saturday tickets still available. General sale today, George, I believe, wasn't it? Went on general sale today.
Yeah, tickets for that game have finally gone on general sale this week, so everyone can buy their tickets now. I think it's the same prices as it was for the Guiseley game, and debenture seats and season tickets are all valid, so hopefully we've all got our allocated space this time. Yes, tickets on general sale now, and there's still a few available.
Definitely a welcome back to Chris Hussey, who's playing for Cheltenham, so he'll be a first time back at Plough Lane, which would be nice. It's always sometimes nice to see players that you've had at Kings Meadow, isn't it? getting a little
especially
bit
someone like Chris Hussey, who did, come through with us. He came through the divisions above us, came through our youth system towards the sort of latter stages of his youth career. It's good for him to get a Plough Lane run out. Hopefully, he won't enjoy the 90 minutes too much, though.
And still a decent player, still a really decent delivery at left back on that. And it's in terms of the FA Cup, this is an interesting thing to look at. It's a chance to be in the third round for the 5th occasion in 10 years. Rob, that's quite mad when you think about it like that, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't realise we'd been in it that often. I really want us to get
every
through.
Year.
I'm naturally I'm hoping we win on Saturday, because it's always exciting, isn't it, when your name's in the hat for a third round. I've got a couple of mates who come with me. One's on Man United and one's on Arsenal, and they're already messaging me like, hope we get Man United away, and I'm thinking, hang on, we've got to get past Cheltenham first. Like,
I know. And we've had a good draw already with Arsenal, didn't we? So we've already had that as well.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, let's be honest, we need the money, isn't it? If we can get to the third round and get a big away tie. So, yeah, fingers crossed on Saturday we do the job and get our name into the hat.
Of course, last time that we were in the third round was against Fleetwood, when it was Rambo's debut.
Rambo's debut, yeah.
Yeah. It's mad.
Obviously, winning that, then beating West Ham. And then
he didn't turn out to be a bad player, that Rambo, did he?
Do you know what?
Despite what a certain radio host said at the time.
Oh, Georgie, don't forget. Do you know what? Interesting thing about it was that we played Millwall, didn't we, in that 5th round, and Rambo mucked up for the goal. Which, it doesn't really make many mistakes. And I think even at the time, we all sort of looked at each other and went, crikey, you don't really do that. But I think that Millwall game still rattles me a little bit. It was a bit of an anti-climax, wasn't it, after we beat West Ham?
To be fair, I think the Met Police still love us, because had we not beaten West Ham, they'd have had West Ham Millwall in the cup. So I think the Met Police still have a soft spot for us for helping them out of that one.
I bet. And let's not forget, FA Cup allows you to use 5 subs, so we can use 5 finishers on Saturday, unless you're Exeter, and you can have 6 if you want, which is still hilarious. Bradford have to travel to Exeter again. I'm sorry, bit of humour in there, do you know what I mean, with that. But yeah, fancy mucking up and get 6 subs, but we can use 5 against Cheltenham.
Yeah. I would say just on that, it's 3 windows for the subs, so same rules as last season. But please read into the Exeter Bradford substitution case, because it's a hilarious case of refereeing incompetence. So please read into it, because it is absolutely hilarious.
None of them knew the rules.
Well, no, the thing is, the 4th official let Exeter make their 6th sub, and then when Bradford wanted to make their 6th, he didn't let him. He changed his mind halfway through and realised the rules.
Yes.
It's absolutely hilarious.
They do make it a bit confusing, though, isn't it? In the league you got 3, FA Cup you got 5. Some competitions, extra time you're allowed an additional one. So I do have a bit of sympathy for these. A lot's changed recently. I do have a bit of sympathy. Even I don't know, or can't keep up with it.
No,
I
you're
didn't
right,
know we
Rob.
could allow 5 subs in the FA Cup. I completely forgot.
I think the thing is, going forward, I think, let's be honest, probably from next season, it's going to be these
5
rules again in all competitions. They tried to go back to the 3 this year, but I think after having 5 last year, everyone's kind of missing having those extra couple of subs, especially now as we go into winters, where players start getting cramped, start getting knocked, start doing hamstrings early on. Those extra subs, I think people are going to miss quite badly. So,
but I think you're right, Rob. It is confusing. Carling Cup, not Carling Cup, crikey. The Carabao Cup.
15 years old.
I was going to say, do you know what I mean? Like good old days.
That's about
no wonder you're getting confused through,
But the Carabao Cup was 3 subs until it got to, I think, later rounds. Then went to 5.
Yeah.
European competition is 5. You're right. My cat's just trying to get on camera. Bless her. So you're right. It is a bit confusing on there. Okay, little bits of business. So what have we got? Don Trust Board meeting at Plough Lane, 16th of December, George.
Don Trust AGM, not a Don Trust Board meeting. Don Trust AGM.
Yeah, everyone should
Thursday,
turn up.
16th of December.
And we should find we should find out who's been successful for the elections. Is it in that meeting? Is it, or is that when they get officially take over? Isn't it?
That's when they officially take over. The results should be known before then for the Don Trust Board election.
Cool, that should be done.
I say should, fingers crossed, touch wood.
Definitely on that. That's about it, really. Anything? Derby are still winning. If you want to know what the scores are, still beating QPR. Derby, what's going on with that? I must admit.
You do look like you're trying to get the role of Jeff Stelling with the headphones as well. You do look the part tonight, Stu, with the headphones.
Do you know what? It's like retro, isn't it? I've gone back to the old. Like I used to like have the ones that like were small, and then you have the AirPods, and now it's like, well, everyone has big air. And I'm to be honest with you, it's so cold in Epsom, I need to keep my ears warm. They're basically doubling up as ear warmers.
In a couple of months' time, he'll just have a boombox behind him, and we'll have horrific feedback for all our live shows.
Oh dear, let's have a quick look. Any messages on here? Oh, bless Molly, it just wants to get on camera. Let's have a quick butchers. Let's have a look. This last one. Let me get the right screen. Citizen Smith, good news. Gillingham going down. Bad news. Yeah, damn. They had 8 players, by the way, in Team of the Week, which I then just decided just to ignore after that. But Gillingham are struggling on there, aren't they? Gillingham look like they could be dropping out of the League One. That'd be a real shame.
It'd be a horrific shame. Steve Evans, obviously a friend of pretty much everyone in the league, kept making more friends. The Cowleys had some fantastic words to say about the man on the weekend. So, it'd be a shame if we lost a man of that calibre from the Football League, from League One. Definitely. Hopefully we won't have to come against him. Hopefully he gets a Stevenage job, because that means we won't have to play him very much at all.
No, Paul Tisdale got a Stevenage job today.
Oh.
Yeah, so I noticed that
today. That's disappointing.
Yeah.
Means we have to have Evans back.
Cool. Well, that's us. That's us done. Thank you for persevering with us. I know we obviously lost. My Wi-Fi froze. Everything else is freezing at the moment. Wrap up warm. That's all I say. Wrap up warm. Hats, gloves, all available from the Wimbledon Club shop. That's my little pitch for that. George, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Rob, as always, thank you very much.
Always a pleasure, guys. Thank you very much.
No problem at all. And podcast back on Friday. We're at home to Cheltenham on Saturday, and then everyone's going to, well, not everyone, George is going to Accrington Stanley the following Tuesday. George, is that right? I've got the fixtures right, haven't I?
He's got to go to Haringey Borough tomorrow.
Yeah, Haringey Borough in the London Senior Cup tomorrow. Tickets are £5.
That's not a first team competition now, though, is it?
First team players are playing in it.
Oh.
And the club put that on their website, so I'm not going to get an angry text from someone later.
Anyway, everyone is going to Haringey. It's a lovely place. Again, a very cold place.
Yeah, hopefully we're not going to drown and freeze simultaneously this time.
Definitely. But the game's always going to be on because it's an all-weather pitch, isn't it? So I've just probably given a kiss of death on that now. Cool. Well, like I say, thank you for joining us and podcast on Friday. And we will see you next week. And just give you a bit of an exclusive, we have Jack Rizzoni and Aya Vassell on next week. So they will be on here next Sunday. So make sure you join us there. And we'll see you soon.
Wrong graphics, Stu. Wrong overlay.